Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Naz and I'm a second year medical student. And in this video, I'll be talking about how I ended up doing medicine. So I'll be dividing this video into events that happened during my childhood, events that happened during my teens, and events that happened after my A-levels. So I'll be timestamping everything in the description box down below, so you can just skip to the parts that interest you the most. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. I think that my journey really started back when I was 6 years old, and I remember telling myself that no matter what I grow up to do, it has to be about helping people. I remember that I told myself that it has to be about benefiting other people, and hopefully I can also help the underprivileged. And as I grew a little older, when I was in primary 5, which is basically when I was 10 years old or 11 years old, I remember in that year, I suddenly had a very strong drive in me to just really study very hard. And I did. I studied really hard. And in primary 5 and primary 6, I ended up topping my entire cohort of 360 students in primary school. So that was kind of interesting for me because I realized that number one, I actually really like studying. I actually really like the sciences and the math because at that time I was studying science and math, and I actually really enjoyed it. I did not hate studying, or I did not have any kind of dread towards studying. And also topping my cohort also gave me a sort of confidence in my capabilities. I just felt like, I think I'm able to do pretty well in my studies. So that gave me a boost of confidence, and it gave me even more drive to, continue studying hard. So after my PSLEs, which is the primary school leaving examinations in Singapore, I got into the integrated program of National Junior College. I feel like that place, NJC, was what really developed a lot of qualities in me and gave me a lot of different opportunities that is what brought me here today. Another thing that I did after my PSLE was that I took Chinese as my third language. I took it out of for two reasons. One is because I was really interested in the Chinese language, since coming from Singapore, a lot of my friends are Chinese, and it's just a very interesting language for me because it's just so different. And the second reason is also because my elder brother was actually the one that really pushed me to take Chinese, and he said that it's going to be very beneficial for me because it will be very applicable in the work setting, since there are a lot of Chinese people, so we are able to better communicate with them. So I ended up taking Chinese for 4 years, all the way until the O-levels. So from the age of 13 to 16, I studied Chinese as a subject, and let me just say that Chinese is very difficult. It's very challenging, and I struggled a lot learning the characters, the Hanyu Pinyin, all the pronunciations. But what made the entire experience really enjoyable was definitely my classmates. They just made me actually look forward to Chinese lessons. And now looking back, taking Chinese as a third language is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because now I'm able to better communicate with people around me. And once I become a doctor, inshallah, God willing, I'll be able to communicate with my patients. So I'm really glad that I took Chinese as a third language. And okay, moving on to research. So another thing that I was really involved in when I was in my teens, or when I was in secondary school, was I took part in a lot of research projects. So NJC is actually very well known for being research focused, and they have a lot of opportunities to do research. And I signed up for quite a few of them. And these research projects was what actually sparked an interest in research for me. It made me realize that I really liked research. And growing up, at one point in my secondary school life, I chanced upon this career called clinician scientist. And as I read more about clinician scientists, I realized that it aligns so well with what I'm interested in. I'm really interested in research, I'm interested in benefiting people's lives, and I also was getting interested in medicine as well. So I started to have this goal in mind to become a clinician scientist. So that's kind of what I'm working towards right now. I hope to, once I graduate, work towards being a clinician scientist, because that would be really cool for me. And another turning point for me when I was in secondary school was this work attachment that I did at a hospital in Singapore called Singapore General Hospital. It's a pretty big hospital, and actually the story of how I got this work attachment, and my entire experience in this work attachment, right, is actually very, very serendipitous. Like, there are so many coincidences that happen, and the way that the entire thing worked out was just so amazing. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about my experiences at my hospital attachment, then just comment down below, and I'll try to make another video about it. That's a story for another video. So basically, for almost 2 months during my holidays, I was working at this hospital, and that was really a very eye-opening experience for me. Before this work attachment, I just like kind of was interested in medicine, but I never really knew like what doctors do or how their lives look like. But through this work attachment, because I was like shadowing doctors, I was talking to medical students, and also like interacting with patients sometimes as well. So that like really opened my eyes to how the day of a doctor goes like. And I was also able to see like their impact, the impact that they have on patients' lives, and that like drew me to the profession even more. Okay, one more thing that I want to add is that I think when I was like 15 or 16 years old, I started watching like vlogs of medical students. At that time, there were like very, very few YouTubers who are also medical students. I used to watch Jane and JD a lot, and I also used to watch Ali Abdal. Yeah, I've been watching Ali Abdal for years actually, ever since he had like 700 subscribers. So I've been watching a lot of his, I watched a lot of his videos, I watched a lot of Jane and JD's videos, and that also like kind of opened my eyes to how medical students' lives are. It is definitely very hard, I know. It's definitely very, very challenging, but it's still meaningful in a sense that you're putting in so much effort for someone to help someone else in the future, to save lives in the future. So that's what like really draws me to it. I just love the idea and the concept behind this profession. I mean, I feel like if you're doing this for the right reason, then you can really create a very positive impact on the lives of others. Yeah, and I really hope to do that. So basically, like my entire teenage life was just spent, you know, doing research, learning Chinese, studying, of course, and then what else? Watching vlogs of medical students, my work attachment, and then all of that. So I was involved in all of this and all the way until A-levels. And then like during A-levels, I took biology, chemistry, math, and economics. And I was really, really drawn to biology. It was just a very interesting subject for me. It's actually my favorite subject, honestly. Since medicine is also very focused on biology, so that's why I feel like it's very aligned to my interests. And then after my A-levels, I got myself involved in an internship at HealthServe. HealthServe is a non-profit organization that helps migrant workers, especially like injured migrant workers or workers who are in salary disputes. So I worked there for about a month and a half, and during that time I was able to like talk to migrant workers and find out about their problems. And while I was talking to them, I realized that, you know, these migrant workers are actually quite overlooked in our society. Like as like Singaporeans or as like locals, we don't really think about, you know, hey, like these migrant workers, they're actually doing so much for us, but do we really know their struggles? Do we really know what they're going through? Especially since they're in a foreign land, away from their families, like what kind of problems can they be going through? And then while I was working at HealthServe, I realized that I was really helpless in a sense that all I could do is listen to their stories and just take this down. Because I was working as a casework intern where I had to take down their cases, whatever happened to them, where they were injured, all of this information. But I just realized that I was like really helpless in a sense that I couldn't really do anything other than just listen to them and write down their stories. So working with them, it made me become a doctor even more, so that I can do more than this. And then as I was working there, I realized that if I were to enter the medical profession, I'll be able to use my knowledge to help parts of our society which are often overlooked. And I'm also very inspired by the founder of HealthServe, Dr. Go. I'm just inspired by how he started this entire organization out of goodwill, out of his sincere desire to help migrant workers. So that really inspired me, and I also want to be, you know, as empathetic as him, as genuine as him. So all of this actually ties back to the vow that I made to myself back when I was 6 years old. I told myself that whatever I do in my life, it has to be about helping people. So I think that, as a doctor, that's really what I aim to do. That's what the aim of doctors actually is. It's to save lives, to use our knowledge to save lives. And to me, it's a very meaningful career, and that's what really appeals to me. Like I feel like being able to help people using my knowledge would really bring meaning to my life and bring meaning to my work. So that's kind of why I wanted to be a doctor. But that's not the end of my story actually. After my A-levels, I applied to study medicine in NUS, and I got shortlisted to do my interview at NUS, but unfortunately I didn't get an offer at NUS Medicine. And that rejection was very, very hard for me to accept actually, because I've wanted to study medicine at NUS for a very long time. NUS was like my dream school, but I didn't get my dream course in my dream school. I got an offer to study pharmacy at NUS, and I also got an offer to do a double major at NTU. It's called Biological Sciences with Medicinal Chemistry and Pharmacology. It's a very long name. And I realized that that's not what I wanted to do, so I rejected that offer. As for pharmacy, I was thinking that pharmacy was actually a very close alternative to medicine, and pharmacy is also really hard to get into because there are only 170 places for pharmacy in the whole of Singapore, and only NUS offers it. And pharmacy is also a very noble career as well. At that time, I decided that I will just attend some of the lessons in pharmacy, just to get an idea of, whether pharmacy may be a good alternative for me or not. But after I attended some of the lessons and some of the career talks, I realized that number one, pharmacy is more geared towards chemistry and more towards, learning about the medicine itself and how to synthesize those medicines. And number two is that there is very limited patient interactions for pharmacists. They're more focused on producing medicines and, editing the prescriptions of the doctors and things like that. There are a lot of very good career prospects for medicine, for pharmacy, but it just wasn't aligned to my interests. And at that time, I also had got an offer to study medicine at University of Malaya in KL. And I was considering between NUS Pharmacy and UM Medicine. And it was a very, very difficult decision for me to take because, if I wanted to study NUS Pharmacy, I will be studying in Singapore. I'll be studying from home, near my parents, and the cost wouldn't be that high. But the thing is that what I would be studying and what I would end up doing as a career wouldn't be aligned to my interests, wouldn't be what I really wanted to do. And if I were to do UM Medicine, I would be doing exactly what I've been wanting to do for a long time. But it came with a huge cost. I mean, there is the financial cost of studying in UM Medicine as an international student. And also I'll be away from my parents for most of the time. It was a very difficult decision for me to make, and I just went with my gut feeling. I realized that in my life, a lot of the big decisions that I've made, I relied a lot on my gut feeling to make these big decisions. And so far, I have not regretted any of the decisions that I have made. So despite everything, I'm very happy with where I am right now. Alhamdulillah. All thanks to God. And I am very grateful for where I am, and I'm glad that I'm able to do what I love, what I have wanted to do for a long time. And yep, medicine is exactly what I have envisioned it to be. It is challenging, but at the end of the day, it's meaningful. So yeah, that's my story of how I got to medicine. Alright, so that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn your post notifications on so that you can get updated whenever I upload a new video. And also comment down below if you have any suggestions of what you want to see in my next video. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Because I'm doing this for the thrill of it, killing it, never not chasing a million things I want.